Picture yourself in a fight club. When you walk into the door, you introduce yourself and your imaginary friend, Dale. Hi, I'm just here responding to an advertisement I saw at my local grocery store. They know what you're talking about and welcome you in to the arena. Why are you doing this? Because you need friends. All of the friends in your past have distanced themselves from you. And right now, it's a lonely time for you and your imaginary friend Dale. You also think that you might even get into shape with this fight club. You haven't done this sort of physical activity in nearly a decade. And not only will you boost your self-esteem, you might even gain some friendships that may last a lifetime.
A large gentleman walks up to you. "Hello," he says. "My name is Franklin, and I love fighting. What do you love?" You consider the question. You're here to make friends. So should you try to find common ground and say that you love fighting too? But that might be dishonest, because you don't have much experience fighting, so you don't know whether you love it or not. Maybe you should be more honest and talk about how you love doors. Painting them, hanging them, opening them, closing them. It's sort of an obsession of yours. But maybe he wouldn't find that interesting either. Ultimately, you decide to play it safe. "I just love Game of Thrones," you say. "Me too," he says excitedly. You smile to yourself. Of course, everybody loves Game of Thrones. "I'd love to fight you sometime," he says. You smirk to yourself again. "I made a friend," you think. Yes, that sounds great. He leads you over to some other gentlemen. One of them is missing an eye. Another has no hair, although that's not as unusual as missing an eye. You can tell he's more sensitive about it than the eye guy. This is your opportunity to make a second friend. "I bet you're sensitive about your lack of hair," you say. "But it's okay. I think it's worse to be missing an eye than to be missing hair. You've thrown the eye guy under the bus, but you can tell that the bald fellow is going to be a lifelong friend. There's always going to be collateral damage when it comes to the war of friendship. The bald fellow makes eye contact. "I'd really love to fight you sometime." You make a small fist pump. Friend number 2.
When trying to find friends, it is important to open up about yourself. With your 2 new friends by your side, you decide to tell them a little bit about yourself before you pick up your respective axes, crowbars, and baseball bats to beat the living daylights out of each other. So, friends, you say, I like to do accounting on my spare time. They don't react. You're nervous. You're afraid you're not interesting enough. You decide to introduce them to your best imaginary friend, Dale, who has been by your side from the beginning. So, guys, I'd like you to meet my best friend in the world, Dale. You motion to your left, and then motion back to your friends. They may not see him, but in your mind's eye, he's there. Dale is great at windsurfing, you say. Franklin and the bald man both gasp. I love windsurfing, says Franklin. Windsurfing's great, says the bald man. And in unison, they both say, Hey Dale, I'd love to fight you someday, if that's all right. By tying in new friends with your old friends, you can grow your friendship base exponentially.
Hey, friends, you say? I'd like to begin my first fight now, if that would be okay. Of course, Franklin says. I'd love to watch you fight. Hey, let me introduce you to Tony. I think you and him would really get along. He leads you over to a small, dangerous-looking man with a tattoo on his forehead that says, Punch here, please, comma, but not too hard. Nice to meet you, the tattooed man says. I'm really looking forward to fighting you. You can barely contain your excitement. You've made 3 friends in one day. Likewise, you say to the man as you both head into the ring. Franklin announces the countdown. 3, 2, 1. You put up your dukes and swing at the tattooed man. He easily dodges and delivers a counterblow to your torso. It hurts. So, you say, as you back up a few steps, did you catch the new episode of Game of Thrones last night? He delivers a quick jab to your jaw. No spoilers, please. I DVR'd it. No worries, you say. I would never spoil Game of Thrones to a friend. He delivers 3 more quick punches to your head. You nearly faint in excitement. Wow, he must really like me, you think to yourself. I'd better not screw this up. You swing at his face and miss. You know, you say, I don't talk much about this, but I'm really into doors. Do you like doors? I do, he says. That's really interesting. I never met anybody else who was into doors like me. And he punches you in the head, knocking you out cold.
While you are knocked unconscious, you start to dream vividly. You see yourself, Franklin, the bald man, and the tattooed man in a park. You're all standing around a small charcoal grill, flipping burgers, hot dogs, and talking about doors. You crack open a beer and look at all of them with Dale by your side, and you say, I'm really glad I walked into that grocery store that one time. If I never found that ad, I don't think I'd ever find my best friends.
You awake to Dale snapping his fingers above your face. Hey buddy, he says, that was a great fight. You lost though. You smile and say, Dale, I don't think I have any need of imaginary friends anymore. I've made so many real friends today. It's okay for you to leave. Dale gets a pained look on his face. I've always been here for you, buddy. I understand if you want to move on to new friends. But I love you, buddy. He begins to cry, and a tear lands on your face. A tear? A physical object created by your imaginary friend? Your whole world seems to crumble around you as you realize that everything you thought was false. Dale was never an imaginary friend. Dale was real. I love you too, buddy. And forget that stuff about you having to go. We can all be friends together. Hey Dale, I'd love to fight you sometime.
Wow, Stu. That was beautiful. Say, Stu.
Yeah, Merle?
Have you ever tried to make friends by going down to the local pool and playing Hold Your Breath Underwater?
I have, Merle.
What's your record?
3 people.
Thank you for listening to the Blainer Brothers Relaxation Quarter Hour. Please subscribe and review our podcast on iTunes and follow us on Twitter @Blainer Brothers. Until next time.